Okay, we are recording.
Okay, thank you.
And then, I've never understood, do I actually have to join, or is this?
Yep, I think you're in.
Okay.
There you are.
It appears so.
Welcome all to the Housing Committee meeting of August 13th, 2025. I'm sorry it has been so long. There have been some difficulties, but we're all good now. I call this meeting to order. You can join from GoToMeeting at 843-752-853. If anybody else is recording this meeting, please let me know. Okay, didn't think so. And we have a quorum of all of us. Very exciting. And I sort of did this out of order, but that's okay. We have to approve the minutes from the last meeting, which I sent you, and I also have here, if you need them.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the you get this correct now. April 22nd, 2025, minutes as presented. Looks good. Did a good job there,
Thank you. Matt, do I have a second?
Yes.
Elizabeth.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and you abstain. Since you weren't here. All right, now it's the fun part, because it was supposed to be July. So we have to reorganize the board. I mean, we don't have to reorganize the board, but it must be discussed and happen at the first meeting. Anybody else want to be chair? Didn't think so. Anybody want to be vice chair?
Well,
All right. All right, you're still
I'll stand
vice
there.
chair.
I don't
Okay,
want to take place.
anybody want to be clerk? All right, so as it stands now, chair is me, vice chair is Art. I will fill in for the clerk, and hopefully we will get another member soon. I'm hoping found somebody that should be working on us, who's a good balance for all of us. I did not hear anything from Brianna. Have either of you guys talked to her recently?
Not recently.
All right,
No.
well then, I'll tell you what she and I have been talking about. That it's really time now. Affordable has Marcelline, it has Pine Oaks, and it's time now for us to help her, unless asked by the Affordable Trust to do something with them, or the select board, that we should try to focus now on attainable, as they call it. Workforce.
As the what?
Attainable workforce. Because there are a lot of new tools now for towns to use. You know, it used to be, if it's capital A affordable, you have to put it up for lottery, right? But you can do things under under certain parts of the act, like the Seasonal Communities Act, where we can specify the housing is for municipal employees, like teachers, fire, police. And we can do other things to help, you know, young people who don't want to buy a house yet, but would like to get out of mommy's basement. Older people who would like to sell their big house but don't want to leave their friends and their churches and everything. So I think that is what everybody, well, that's what Brianna and I think should be the focus. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's great. That's primarily one of the big issues is being able to come to the town and get a job with the town and be able to afford housing. So having a kind of referring it to that as well, rather than affordable housing kind of be presented in front of the town. I feel like has a different view from the public than what's currently happening.
Okay.
That was my understanding of our charge to the committee when I originally joined a year and a half ago
Right.
was, that's what we should be focusing on. I mean, it's great to collaborate with the trust, but, you know, collaboration and overlap and making sure we're talking to each other is
Right.
great, but should be, I don't want to say minimal, but I want to say we've had too much of a focus on it. That should be our focus, is lowercase and
Right.
affordable.
Yeah. Good, because, you know, there were some management problems and other issues, but, you know, there's a change and the trust is really gung-ho and, you know, so this should, it's what I always expected we'd be doing, what you expected to be doing now, hopefully we'll be doing it. Art, your thoughts?
Well, I mirror or sound off what was actually been said here. The middle or attainable or workforce or whatever tag you want to give it, is wanting, and one of the reasons why it's wanting is because the only game in town is affordable, and that's where the money is. The state is putting the money on that. They're not putting very much money, if any, on attainable. And a lot of times attainable can be affordable. You know, some people right on the line, and you know, and it gives them something to reach up for. Because if you have an affordable housing and there's nothing above it for you to reach, guess what? You stop reaching, right? So, for whatever reason, or, you know, you wind up staying in the affordable housing market because there's nothing else for you, there's not another rung on the ladder for you to reach up to. And if there's another rung on the ladder, I think that would also help in total affordable housing, because you'd have people coming out of affordable housing. That's the American way. You're constantly reaching up. You're not reaching down, you're reaching up. And everyone would benefit in the long run.
Excellent. Alrighty. Good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. So now I would like to introduce Mr. Lou Urbano, who has a presentation for us, some ideas.
Just a few ideas. First, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm glad I know 2 out of the 4. Hopefully I'll get to know everybody better. This has been an interesting week. Monday night, I was at the select board, and I made a presentation on the trust. And the basic gist, which applies here, is that we keep doing the same things. It's time to expand the role of the trust and what they do. I personally think of the trust as a bank. We talked about that when I first met you, Art.
Mhm.
It's where the money is,
Yeah.
and they have the money.
Yeah.
Banks are good at collecting money, but I hate to see banks spend money. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to push with them, and I do think the collaboration amongst the various housing committees is essential in this town. That's my personal opinion, that one can gain from the other. The trouble that has beset all of us is duplication of functions. We take a look, if I say the word habitat, you know what it is. You immediately can picture it, it's there. If I say affordable housing, it's a jumble. When I hear housing needs, I have a problem with words like, I don't know what that means. So I go to the easiest common denominator for me, which is what we really are talking about is affordability. And who can afford and who can't. If you change the word, you also change the solutions to the problems. I don't have, by the way, silver bullet. I wish I did. I have been talking about this for over a year, and it's not a new idea, and I'll just put the seed out in a second. It's basically a lot of ideas put into a pot, stirred, put into an oven, and guess what? Something a little different comes out. And that's basically what this idea does. First and foremost, we're talking about two things: rent subsidy and buy downs. The question is this, and the most important aspect of that is who to. And basically, I know that at least the trust, and I believe the laws will, you can check them out yourselves. You can define any group as school teachers, police, fire, health workers. I can't tell you, I've talked to the chair of the, one of the health departments here, health agencies. We have problem getting people because they can't afford it. I kind of laugh because I look at his salary and then I say, well, they could afford it if we gave them a little more. But that's the answer, though, giving a little more and getting the greatest return for what we invest. So how do you solve a problem? You target the solution to a particular problem. And also you gather support. By going to the town workers who can't afford, and this has to be done in conjunction, by the way, with a bank. And I've talked to a couple of banks, they're dying over the idea. You know, buy downs, you mean you're gonna give me 20 to 30 mortgages a year at $600,000-700,000 each? That's good money. Reason for them being involved. What's their expertise? Guidelines. Following the law. Because the number one objection in most cases is, we don't have the expertise to do the work. We can't do that. Working in conjunction with a bank, they have the expertise. They have the credibility. They have the know-how. Guidelines are very important in these type of programs. Where you help a bank is in saying, I want to give up to $150,000, $200,000 to qualifying individuals that work for the town in one way or another. It's a 30-year, perhaps interest-only loan, perhaps no interest whatsoever, perhaps no principal payments for 30 years. If the house sells, then whoever, the government agency that does it, gets their money back. The profit is made by the individual that has the house on that investment. That's fine. But everything should be it should all be rotating funds. They should be coming back. If not, we're always going back and begging for more money. So we want something to grow. Other guidelines can be, gee, it's reviewed every 3 to 5 years. Why? Because people get raises, people get married. Their financial conditions change. Therefore, if their financial conditions change, which we hope they do, Art, they pay a little more per month. All that can be worked out. The banks do
The
that.
banks figure that out, yeah.
Okay, which is beautiful. Lawyers figure out how you put the group together, and all you need to worry about is making sure that the same rules apply to any housing. You can't, within that group, say, gee, I'm only going to lend to 30-year-old males. You can't do that. You might have to exclude for the first 2 or 3 years that somebody works for the town or for the fire department, because a new hiree may not even qualify for any housing. But there's where the rent subsidies come in. Why not? And all of this starts with this. If I take $1 million, wherever it comes from, the trust, the town, wherever, it's there, it just needs to be moved, and I put it in a bank. What do banks do with money? They leverage it. For every dollar you put in, the bank is able to borrow at lower interest 7 times that, and then they lend it out and they work off the margin. That's how they function. And all you want is a little special treatment for giving them the initial funds. That special treatment is then passed off to those that you're lending to. Renters assistance programs. Someone moves to town. Look, the average rent is about $1,800 to $2,600. Most people can afford $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. You make up the difference for a 5-year period, a 3-year period. It's not that much money when you average it out. And look, if you take just $100,000, how many people you can actually help right away. Targeted. The other factor in all this that I've been pushing is Harwich employees. They work in Harwich, they work for the town, school, or so forth. But the housing can be found anywhere on the Cape. So I work in Harwich, but I can buy a house in Yarmouth if I want. If I'm the town administrator and I qualify, I can go to Chatham and buy a house, wherever. That levels the playing field and changes it from we need to build more, we need to get more density, we need to get more units up, to we need to help more people. We need to get more people in houses. Do you know what developers will do when there's a need? They'll build it, because there's money to be made. If they don't have to do all the paperwork that's encumbered by that word affordable housing and what you have to do to qualify for it, you can build a lot faster. You don't have the headaches. Again, it starts to generate. Is this quickly? No. This is a change in how things are done. That takes time. You don't change attitudes, you don't change programs overnight. You work your way through it. But you start with a seed and you say, is this something that might work? Is this something that the town might be interested in? I can tell you this. The town is definitely interested in it. The select board is definitely interested in it. The trust was definitely interested in it. Now I don't know, there's a lot of changes. So what does it really need? It needs a group, this committee, or someone, to take hold from within, because you can't do it from the outside, to spearhead it and to look for it. I've got a lot of the information for somebody. You want a bank? I can give you a name. Want to talk to someone else? I can give you the selectmen I've talked to. I can give you the trust people I've talked to bring it all together. But somebody's got to take that lead. The question is mortgage buyback an answer? Is rent subsidy an answer? And can rent subsidy also in some ways lead towards home ownership? Because in a rent subsidy, you have to provide a vehicle that they're not renters forever. That vehicle may be that if you work for the school for 10 years, for 5 years, you get $10,000 towards buying a house. You get $50,000 towards buying a house. Whatever. There has to be an incentive. Or for every month you're in the rental unit, $1,000 will be put into an account. If you buy a house, that you can draw on. There's a lot of ways of working this. It takes some creativity. Banks aren't the most creative in the world, but they do understand the laws and what can be done and how it can be done. So that's my seed. That's what I'm planting. And hopefully seeds start to sprout slowly. Because I'm a very patient person. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou.
My pleasure, guys.
Appreciate it.
And good work. Keep it up.
And start with Art.
Do you have any questions?
Questions?
Well,
No.
yes. We do have rental assistance programs.
Yep.
And we've had buy-down programs.
Uh-huh.
And they kind of fizzled.
Yep.
I don't know why. And they were, most of them were financed by the CPC money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in the buy-down programs, I don't know if the houses had been deed restricted or, I don't know. That part I don't know.
Don't need that. Because you changed, what you're trying to do is change a paradigm.
Yeah.
Who's my customer? It's not the developer. It's not the town.
Right.
It's the individual I lend money to. He's my customer. As long as he's working for the town and he's following the guidelines, you want to move? Move. The house itself isn't the restricted asset.
Yeah. Well, that is a good twist to it, because
Well, I said I baked it.
on numerous occasions, I talked about buy downs, and I think there's a need for it.
Yep, there is.
And I think partnering with real estate, because I'm a firm believer that real estate knows when, or knows of when certain properties are coming on the market that could be good buy downs.
All properties. See, this is where we have to change our
Well,
thinking. If I see an $800,000 property, and I've just sold my house in Pennsylvania and moved to Cape Cod to work for the town of Harwich, and I have $200,000 in equity in my first home, and I move here, and I'm making $150,000 a year, I can only borrow X amount. Therefore, even though I have that, we can come in and say, okay, here's the difference, and that person buys a $700,000, $800,000, $900,000. I don't care what the value of the home is. I want to put workers of town, in our town, in homes
And strictly to the town,
that work within the town but can purchase anywhere.
but for town government.
Police,
Police, fire.
fire, school teachers, nurses, doctors.
Doctors, which may work at Cape Cod Hospital?
Yeah,
Okay. So not necessarily for the town.
no. As
Okay.
long, well, no, if they have to work within Harwich.
Within Harwich.
So Fontaine,
Fine, yeah.
okay? The other health center, yeah,
Yep,
okay?
gotcha.
And again, what I'm giving you is the ideas as I express them. By the time this finally gets through,
Who knows where it goes?
I probably won't even recognize it,
Yep,
all right? Except for my name on the back of the page. That's the, but it's the seed that I'm giving. Let it grow.
Well, the twist that I was introduced, not too long ago at the trust meeting, is to, because they have money. And if you have money, you don't have to go borrow money, because you can act fast. And the trust can act fast if they choose to. And so my little ditty was, when certain properties come up, now the one, I don't know what's happening to it right now, but there's a house right up the street from me, I didn't even know it was there. Someone came along and clear cutted the lot, and lo and behold, there's a house there. Now, that's going on the market. It looks a little tired, looks a little rough from the outside, and I'm saying, to the trust, that's the house you buy. You don't even ask any questions, you buy it. You worry about the answer later on.
That's
And once you have it under control, the problem's happening, and I don't have to tell them about, preach to these two gentlemen here, what's happening here in Cape and other places. These type of properties are being sucked up right away. The people are smarter than the rest of us. They're not really smarter, but they're quicker on their feet. And they can be, because they're walking around with checkbooks. And when they see properties like that, they don't even have to go inside. They buy it.
Can I tell you the most loved person in the world by a realtor? I used to be a wholesale mortgage lender in California. A realtor loves a pre-qualified candidate.
I'm just
Oh,
warning
yeah.
you, they're real.
That's good news.
Well, and then-
I'm just
Pre-
saying, so don't
Pre-
say.
if
and
I
they're
come
all
to you
crooks and cr-
and I say, this guy has got 300,000, and by the way, the town of Harwich is subsidizing him. They'll make sure. What do you do? Don't have to worry. Exactly. Give him to me. Again, there's a lot of ways that this can be made to work. Working with realtors, yes, absolutely. But again, if I'm a business, my client, pre-qualification is something that I can give my client.
Right.
And that immediately says, buyer. No matter, all you have to do is go to a realtor and say, I'm in the market, here's my pre-qualification. Next day, I got this, I got this, I got this.
And those programs are actually in the works right now, because they have first-time buyer
That's right,
programs.
that's right.
HAC has them, Community Development Partnership runs one. There's any number of entities around that run them. And once you go through their
maze.
workshop, or whatever it is, you get your little certificate or something like that. Now you're an asset to the, like you say, a
Right.
bank
That's right.
or a lender,
That's right.
because these people have basically been vetted. They know what they can afford. They know what they're looking for, and they know that the pitfalls of buying a house, because probably heretofore they've always lived in apartments or whatever, and because if you've never lived in a house before, you just go from apartment to a house, you can be pretty well overwhelmed real quick. I mean, all of a sudden, something happens, and now what do I do? It becomes Panicville. But so there's another.
You absolutely have it right now.
Yeah.
The other
Another
question,
component of the work.
I'm just gonna take one more second. The other thing is, the value of money is something that I like to look at and what I can do with it. What's my return? If I'm going to assist someone in buying a house that costs $200,000, if I have to give up $150,000, say, versus a rent subsidy, I can do 10 times more. Because I'm only subsidizing $1,500 a month max, $2,000.
Well,
My potential for growing, all the limitations that the agencies have and these programs have is the terrible amount of paperwork.
oh,
Okay, the funnel that you have to go through from first finding the right funnel, and then getting into that funnel and coming out on the other end, you're almost at the point that you don't want to do it anymore. This has the factor of expedition. It's great. So I apologize for jumping
oh,
in
no,
on
no.
that. I get excited by money.
I do not run my committees like, may I speak, Madam Chair? I find it gets better unless somebody's being an idiot. I find it works better to have a conversation.
I want you to know for the past 6 months, I have been practicing Madam Chair. All right? It's always been Linda. It's always been Sandy. What is this, Madam?
Exactly.
What about you? Do you have any questions?
Anthony.
I don't have any in particular questions. I like a lot of what you say. I do have a lot of questions spinning in my head. I'm not going to bog down the meeting. with
$5
everything.
each. $5 each.
Yeah.
No problem.
I got to think them all through, and I'm sure there's a lot of good that can come from
Yeah.
it, and I'm sure there's a lot, everything that's bouncing off my head. There's a lot to be asked and gone through.
This
and
is-
picked
this is
over.
why I
Like you
said
said,
this
you
is
wouldn't
just-
recognize it when it's done. I'm sure, but
That's why I'm planting the seed. There's more behind it. As you start thinking
Yeah.
through and have questions,
happy to explore it. Absolutely. Don't
Yeah,
wanna
no,
bog it down.
I feel the same as him. There was a bunch of, just being in real estate as well, there was a bunch of different things like spinning in my head, as far as just like purchasing, because one of the things was just like, I know Massachusetts in this state, a lot of the protected classes, occupation and stuff, so I was just thinking, okay, what kind of hoops would you have to jump through to do that? Because you can't.
only within the category. And you know what the nice part is? The banks have lawyers that do that. You don't even have to pay for
Yeah,
it.
let the banks worry about it.
All-
Yeah, that part, that was.
And that's what I
was-
enjoyed, was the notion of saying, I can just focus on the big picture. And there's people that have already done it that can get into the weeds and get into the details, which makes it nice.
Yeah.
It's good. How about you, madam?
I think it's great. There are, the way I'm looking at what you're talking about is more about what we were talking about,
Yep.
attainable workforce. There are, all the things you have to jump through hoops for are capital A affordable, because there's so many rules if you're gonna get money. But if we're getting money elsewhere, we can do what we want with the least amount of paperwork we want.
Know what I'm going to suggest right away? My first suggestion is that if you put a program together that you want to do something, the first funding source to me is the trust.
Well, then it's,
If you look at their charter and their rules, it's there, not a problem. Remember what I said? Look at them as a bank. They have money. Look at CPC as a bank. The idea is to leverage. For every dollar that you have, you can leverage it with private funds. That's the key. But you need that.
But the problem is they actually can't. CPC definitely can't. As the trust document, they're rewriting it, so maybe now they could. But there are other options that we're working on.
Yep.
What Provincetown has, I'm working at it both at the county level, but I'd like to try to get people thinking about it in Harwich, is what Provincetown has, which is the municipal trust fund. And that's for the non-capital A affordable. So that's the money we use for this stuff.
Raising funds,
And
you're right, you're right on. It's there.
There's a million ways to raise funds. That's the easy part. I don't want to say it's the easy
Oh,
part.
no, ask
but
Art. That's the-
it's easier to come up with ideas.
Right.
I'd be happy to sit around and come up with ideas, but I wouldn't want to do that unless there's a smart idea on how to spend it. I feel like that's foolish. I feel like if you all of a sudden start taking money
If you
in,
like.
but you can start taking money in, and what are you going to do with it?
Before
if
you
you don't
take-
have a smart way to spend it, I wouldn't be able to get behind
I
it.
would say this, that before anything is done, I'll give you an indication. You know where the schoolhouse is in West Harwich?
Yep.
Okay. Quite a few years ago, I tried to renovate that building. I put together a proposal for CPC. I was told that that's one of the best written documents, detailed documents. It had how many screws I would buy for that building. It had who I'd negotiated with to reduce costs. All I was asking for was $200,000. That 200 would be leveraged with state funds, a grant of another 200,000. Business plan that lays out everything is what the initial group does. That answers all the questions, that sits with banks, that sits with other realtors, and answers all the questions so that there's no surprises. Because that's what you want to eliminate, really. Anyone putting money in, whether it's the
Only
town or
surprises.
anyone else, has to have the total picture, or it doesn't work. You're absolutely correct on that. A prospectus. Let's look at it that way.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
we good?
I thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thanks,
sir.
guys. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Lou.
it.
You've
Thank
given
Really
us a
appreciate
lot
it.
to think about, and
Give you a headache, I hope?
no, it's good because
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Have a good night.
everything ties together in housing,
Yes, it does.
and in water too, because that's something else we need to be thinking about. So, just one thing before I forget. We love this town. I've given you the final draft of the charge once again. We have voted on it a while ago. But, because people keep asking for it, I keep saying, you have it. So once again, I'm gonna give it to Town Hall or whoever is in charge of putting it on our, I'm gonna try, can you phrase it this way? We need to figure out this website, the town website, on how to get things posted. Now, I've finally figured out agendas.
Oh,
I've
okay.
figured out minutes. So now I have to figure out how to do meeting materials, and I will do that. But what would be helpful from you guys is figuring out which of these things we should put on the housing website that you created.
As in, all of this just uploaded, each meeting?
Well, I mean,
Like the-
not the minutes and the agenda, but you know, like the charge, I think might be helpful to go on the website.
Yeah,
And things that we've discussed, you know, if we discuss something, you know, that I have a handout for, we could discuss. Like, I sent you the thing, Lou sent this to me right before the meeting. I sent it to you. But we could put this on
is,
the website. It's New York Times, but I can gift it if we need to. But I think I need you guys to figure out how to put stuff on the
yeah,
website.
cause I don't know
'cause
anything about the website right now, what's going on with it.
Okay, because
Yeah,
that would be helpful if you guys could work on that.
I'll reach out to her and ask
Okay.
about it, what's going on with
Great. All right, then I put you in.
So are we to look over this charge and come back with something,
No,
or?
we did it. This is the final charge that we wrote and approved, and then I had to go to the select board.
Is this the same
and
one
take
from
notes.
January of
and-
last year?
Yeah, it's the one that was finalized by appearing at the select board. And then
What do you mean by appearing, at what?
I had to go to the select board. Were you there too?
A year ago?
With
I
me?
don't know if I think
It
of
was
that.
a long, I don't know when
Yeah.
the hell it was. Back when remember when they were having all those problems with the golf committee? And the
Yeah.
golf committee charge, that's what, it was then. So we had all agreed on our version of the charge, which I sent to the select board. And then they asked me to come in to discuss the charge. They didn't really actually, no, that's not true. The way it happened was, remember, we approved one, I have somewhere, that they really hated. that because I had based it, you remember, the first one we came up with was based on the way they did the golf. Remember, they got really picky into the weeds about the golf committee charge. And so I based our charge on their template, which I swear is in here somewhere, but not more. And I sent that to them, and they sent it back saying no. So then they had sent it back with like suggestions, so then we came up with like all sorts of things that did back and forth, and then we ended up with, right, like this, these were all our first
So is this,
drafts.
we had something different
So-
a year ago from this?
What happened was, we had something different, and then, I know where it is. And then I went to the select board, and we went over it, and, board, it should be attached to that. Well, anyway, I'm sorry, it was right here, and then I messed with things, so now I can't find it. So then we went before the select board, and I think Art was there, and presented the one that we had agreed on.
When was this?
This was, honest to God, like a year ago.
So way back.
Yeah, yeah,
Good
yeah.
year ago.
So this is just what we
Way
had
back.
from a year ago?
So this is, we had, here's what I was looking for. So, remember, we had agreed that I would go to the select board and submit this. I sat with the select board, they made these changes, which I wrote down. And then they said, great, then with those changes, we will post it on the town website, that they would do that. And I said, great, and I brought back the corrected version and said, so this is what we all agreed on. Guys, I think
A year ago.
Yeah, and I think he may have voted on, I think.
I just don't understand, what are we trying to do with this now?
All you're doing with it now is, I want you to know that this is finally, since the town never posted the charge, I'm gonna post the charge that we agreed on a year ago. Or at least I'm gonna send it to them now that there's, you know, new people in the administration. It should be easier to get this posted and other things done. So this is just to remind you, so that when this.
So there's no changes in the
No,
package?
no, no. So this
Okay.
is just to remind you, so that you know that if you see this pop up, but you think, I never saw this before, it's to remind you, yeah, you saw this like a year ago, and it's finally getting posted. So, I didn't mean to make it confusing.
Yeah, that was-
Obviously, I did.
No changes
So-
from a year ago would have
No,
been,
no.
you know, saved us like 20 minutes
Yeah,
there.
sorry. So that's just to know that that's gonna get posted. And then, we have the general topics. Anybody wanna talk about anything specific? Anything you've been working on, any ideas, any meetings, anything specific you want,
I'm spent from the charge.
I'm sorry I made it confusing. It was really just for your information, because I don't want you to, you know, I'm finally gonna try to get everything where it's supposed to be. On the town website, on the housing website. You know, it's time for us to
I got it.
through a lot of
Please spend no more time on it.
So, now it's time to get to work. So what I'm wondering, I mean, we have, the list I put on this, there are all sorts of things. They're the, you know, attainable things we talked about earlier. Is there something that each one of you would like to work on and come back next month and go, hey, this is, you know, this is what our next idea should be, or these are a couple of things I found out about that might be interesting, or,
Kind of,
Yeah.
Nothing in particular.
I was gonna look into like what he was talking about with the buy down program, just looking into how that would all work. And then as well as kind of what Provincetown, if they've made any progress with what they're doing, because it was a few months ago now that I
Yeah.
looked into that.
yeah, you had
I
given
thought
us
that
a
was
really good presentation.
I just thought that was good what they were doing up there. Basically doing specific areas of zoning. Because I mean, I don't know, I have the same view as always. I'm a finance and numbers guy. Like, the price won't go down unless you have more supply. So I'm a guy, we need to build something where people who can come in only making 75 grand on paper, 150 as a couple or something can afford to get in, not someone who has a few $100,000 worth of equity, you know?
Right.
Like someone who's like just starting out, getting going. P-Town was just basically, they have commercial street though, so they can do that. Like you were always saying, how the businesses should do the apartments above hand. That's what they're kind of pushing towards up there.
Yeah,
We just don't have kind of as much commercial space as they do.
I mean, the Patels did a beautiful job here in Harwich Center. You know, and the people in North Harwich who are against Pine Oak Village keep saying, like, why does it always have to be us? Why can't it be another neighborhood?
Unfortunately, it's just.
but- Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but it's also, so I went and I looked at Harwich Port, because Art's been a big proponent of, you know, the second story project, like the Patels did here, you know, and saying, well, yeah, maybe we will make it so Harwich Port, you know, puts apartments up, you know, refurbishes their buildings and puts apartment up top. And I looked
It
at
used to
the
be called a
buildings
second story.
and-
I don't think we're ever gonna
And-
dictate
and
what
it would
anybody has
never-
though.
Yeah, it would never.
We don't have that ability.
It would never work. No, we can't dictate. We can make anyone in housing really, except for zoning boards, things like that, is present a tool. and say, hey, did you know you can use this tool? We can't make anybody do anything, nor do I
But
want to.
the people that are
Nor
doing
do
that
I
all
want
have
to.
money and they'll do what they want to do anyway.
Right, but if we, the thing is, like, if we made it easier, let's say, for businesses to do what the Patels did, then maybe some businesses would want to do it. But I looked at Harwich Port, there's no way, there's no place really to do it unless you wanna, I mean, I can't think of a building in
I mean, if
Harwich
you're
Port
trying to,
where
if you're
they
trying to
can
come up
do
with it, you're turning into a developer.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, but I mean, in terms of like suggesting it, I don't even think it's worth suggesting it because I didn't see any place.
You're gonna suggest
know.
it too. You're gonna tell somebody that they have to sell and.
No, it's just, you know,
I just don't think it's gonna get
What-
us anywhere. I don't think we're doing anything good by
what,
trying to produce something that's not there.
one of the things we're supposed to be doing is investigating the options and figuring out how to, and figuring out how to educate about them. You know, to communicate, because I get calls all the time from people saying like, what's the deal with this? What's the deal with that? And I, you know, that's what we said the website was gonna be. And that's, you know, what our value is to people, is that we do the investigating, we come up with the numbers so that then if somebody says, is there a way we could do that? We can say, well, as a matter of fact, there is, or sorry, no, we looked at it. You know, I had a meeting with somebody on the
We're just
zoning
going down such a
board.
what if road.
Well, it's not what if, it's are there things that we think are feasible now that we should spend our time investigating in order to help?
So do you
Like,
think we
that's
should be
what Matt's
spending
doing.
our time investigating commercial downtown?
No, that's
Okay.
what I was saying, that, you know,
Can we get past it then?
sure.
I just don't think we spend so much time talking about these things that I don't think they have any viability, at least at the current moment.
No.
If the opportunity were to come up and we want to discuss it,
Right,
all for it.
right,
But I just don't see anything where we're getting anywhere with it.
okay. So Matt did the investigating, you know, looked what P-Town's doing.
They set up a
and they're
fund,
doing
they're
great.
using the town's
Right.
using their fund money and they changed zonings in town, so new building, they have specific spots where they're putting housing that is allowed to use their money. So basically, like, people going to buy in these spots or rent are allowed to get their money from the town.
Right.
As in, like, the Affordable House Trust has money, and if you change zoning saying you putting apartments in this part of town, this money can be used for that. But we don't have anything going on.
Anything fun like that.
Right.
We just don't have any
but-
plans
so-
to do anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you come in, since you like the numbers, if you come in with like specifically how it works for them and what they're doing with it,
Yeah, I have it on my computer somewhere.
then we can discuss how we could go about suggesting it to Harwich. Because it's working in P-Town, it's working on other islands.
They're building though, that's the thing. The reality is P-Town's building up there.
Well,
Like they're in the process
Right.
of development. We as a town always have people coming out saying we don't want to develop, and we can't get it to work with
but
those.
to Anthony's point, you said, I don't want to give money until I know what it's being spent on. So that's one of the things Matt can investigate the money and how it's being worked in other places.
How they're spending it.
But then we can all look at, you know, how could Harwich use it? I mean, Affordable Housing Trust, they've got Marceline,
Oh, yeah,
they've
they're-
got Pine Oaks,
They're just
they're
taking-
done. You know what I mean? I mean, in terms of
It's coming back now. I
how to
remember.
help Harwich, it's now for us to try to come up with ways to help the town figure out how we can achieve workforce housing, how the town can achieve workforce housing. And that's, you know, that's where we come in, is we try to figure out all the ways we could do it. Harwich doesn't have land, but we have housing, like the buy down program, that might work. Deed restrictions. Should we have a municipal fund that'll buy a deed restriction on a starter home, you know, so that we'll get, there's different ways to do deed restrictions. Do we take a house that exists now and give the people $150,000 to do whatever they want with? But when they sell that house, it has to be sold with a year-round deed restriction. You know, that works in some places. So I think for us to do is investigate all the ways that, all the feasible ways we think that could help Harwich get workforce housing.
I think last time we had, because P-Town's getting their money from their short-term rentals that they have in town, and then we kind of thought of the thing as, oh yeah, what is Harwich doing with their money?
Right.
That's another question, like what is the town doing with all of the, I mean, that's another,
It's going to trust.
so then that's,
But not all.
and so that's
Well,
what,
not all of it.
that's what P-Town was doing, is they were using their trust money to help, they were just using it. That's what, and they were, I had it in other notes, it's not all in here, but.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't even know if Harwich is, I mean, short-term rental, you're allowed to go up to like, what, 5%? I don't even know, or whatever the percentage is. I don't
It's
even
around
know.
5%.
Yeah, I don't even know if we're up at 5%. I don't know if we're doing the whole,
We've lost a few,
Amount
we've
where-
lost a few units.
we're allowed to.
No,
No,
that-
I'm talking about the short-term rental
tax.
money. You're allowed to tax,
Oh,
a town is allowed to tax short-term rentals at a certain
I think
percentage.
it's like 7 or 8%.
And I don't
I don't think
think
we're up to the max.
Harwich is
No.
doing that.
They're doing something, but you're right, I don't know what I don't know what the max is, but I doubt if they're at the max.
Right.
They're somewhere in between. But that's another thing.
But these are the things that we need to know to help people.
I would put a bet on it's a pretty substantial amount of money. Because I know the total tax is 14.5 for rentals. So the town's getting at least half. It would be interesting to see is what the total amount of money that, I don't know, that's just, I mean, we talk about money, and, you know.
Well, I made the comment that the trust got,
They get some of it, right?
They don't get all of
they split the baby, pardon the expression. Half went to housing, half went to sewer, water.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trust, I don't know, right at this moment, if they got their half. They got some of their half.
Gotcha.
it. Fine.
Why didn't they get the whole? I can't answer that.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to speculate in front of a camera.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right, and like I said, I'm not sure that the town is, you know, doing as much, taxing as much as they could.
Well,
I also, as far as I can tell, we're not monitoring short-term rentals, so we don't know if we're getting.
no,
The mo- and-
there's no police to monitor. And I think that is a Cape Cod wide policy.
It's not though,
Well,
because,
I'm not saying universal, but I think by and large, Cape Cod does not monitor rentals.
well, Wellfleet came up with a great idea.
They monitor when the police have to be called because the party burnt the house down or something.
No, I think it's Wellfleet, but it
Well, whatever
might
it
be
was.
true. What they do is, you know, you have to pay a fee to register
Right,
your
yeah.
short-term rental. I think in Harwich it's $75.
Yeah, something like that, to register.
Well, they upped it to like $300, which pays for
Yeah,
a monitoring agency,
well, if that, maybe that's something we want
you know.
Advocate.
So think about
to, but
that.
at this moment, we don't know.
So Anthony, you
What-
wanna play with the numbers?
What if that's how I,
Second math.
what if I'm a homeowner and I have a space I rent and that's how I afford my property.
That's right.
That's
And now you go from 75 to 300.
Now I can't afford it.
There's gonna be-
That's different though.
uh,
A homeowner, we're talking, you know, corporate or
Oh,
non-resident ADUs, I mean, not ADUs,
yeah. A
STRs.
piece of property
The
that's.
Cape has
that's-
always based its economy on people renting their houses.
Absolutely.
during
We
the
don't
summer.
have, we don't have hotels. That's how
Right.
it's always been.
Right, and that's
But-
not what we're talking about at all. What we're talking about are, I mean, I think it's, the standard is
But we have no differential
two proper.
within the town, do we?
No, and we
Did you say-
should. That's one of the things that
We could make a
we should
suggestion.
investigate
We can make
and
a
suggest to,
So we're looking
the
for
select
a list
board.
of items that come up with
I know
suggestions.
P-Town did that before where they limited properties that corporations could own to two. LLCs
Yeah.
cannot tie back to two properties.
And Barnstable has 2 as well.
yeah.
2 in the town.
okay. And
So-
it, and it's, and one of them, I think, have to be owner occupied,
Yeah.
of the two.
I didn't hear that, but I
You're-
know that there
you're
is
right.
definitely a 2 cap.
You know, because, I mean, so many people, like, you know, they rent their house out for the summer, that's when they go on vacation, or they camp in Stillwater, or whatever.
Well,
You know, that's the way it should be. We don't want to hurt those people at all. What we're talking about is corporations, LLCs that bought these houses sight unseen, put them on Airbnb with no, you know, sort of care, whatever. I mean, go to any neighborhood and you'll find someone who's gonna bitch about the house that always has 14 cars and too much noise on a weekend. That's what we're talking about. I mean, homeowners, they don't rent to 20, 18-year-olds for a weekend. You know, they're renting to families. That's what it's always been. That's what we want it to be. You know, so I don't know. Do you want? I mean, what do you want to investigate? Do you want to see what Harwich charges and what Harwich's numbers are?
Sure.
All right, good. Because then that gives us an idea of what we need to invest, you know, what
So-
we can suggest to the town to help.
okay, no, it's okay, we all done there? I don't know.
So, Art, you,
Well, I just got a couple items I wanted to, I think I voiced this earlier. I think at maybe not every meeting, but more meetings than not, we have some action item on the agenda that we discuss, vote on, write a letter, and send a letter to somebody. We need to establish credibility that we're doing something. And nothing like the low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of it out there. Pick it and run with it. I mean, like my little list here, it's not going to change anything that's already been established, but it gets us in a position that we're behind it. Because legally, I've been going to all the Pine Oaks for zoning board of appeal meetings. And legally, I can't really get up and say, identify myself as Art Bowden, which I can, but I can't say that I'm from the housing committee, and everything I'm saying now is from the housing committee. I just have to say I'm Art Bowden, housing advocate, because the housing committee hasn't voted on it.
actually, the housing committee did vote on Pine Oaks 4 when it was first.
So
Technically, we
so
could've,
that
but
that's one of the items.
We're not dealing with that.
Hmm?
So,
So you want to send an email at the
Yeah.
end of every meeting to
Well,
some kind of action item.
Yeah, some action item, demonstrate to the and we have our naysayers, that the housing committee is not doing it. And I'll just leave it at that. So I want to demonstrate that we are doing something. You know, even if it's just no more than saying we came out and supported, you know, motherhood. I mean, supported. I think one of the ones that is out there right now is Pine Oaks 4. we should be on record that we support Pine Oaks 4. Or maybe we don't,
We did.
huh?
We already did that.
Where is it in writing?
In, what did we have before January, October?
Okay, well,
But what I agree with what you're saying, and I've always had action items on this, but I think what I'd like is, let's think, because I don't know that there's something we could do every meeting, but I think
no,
we can.
if it's too radical to do it every meeting, well, we'll do it every second meeting. I don't know.
No, but
Come
I
on.
mean, I think,
It's just a good accountability piece we need to have. Let's focus on it. We don't need to put anything in stone, but
we have
let's
to-
have some action items we leave with.
You
and-
know, we have to reestablish why we're here and what we're doing, and tell the population at large and the town hall that we're doing something, we're supporting something, or we're against something.
Mhm.
So nothing, and the only way you're gonna demonstrate that you're for it is you gotta put it in writing, and you gotta publish it. I mean, you can talk all day long about.
Well, that's what the website was supposed to be for, right? We publish
right,
what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're trying to accomplish.
yeah, I think,
And where is it on the website?
well, that's the thing, that's what
I rest my
Matt
case, Your Honor.
said. Matt said he'd look at the website, you can look at the website and figure out what we wanna do. I'm less concerned, I'm really, right now, as you talk about establishing ourselves and
Well, if you're
getting our
if you're
reputation
kicking
back
websites
and
around,
everything is,
the town advocate has a website. Now, maybe it's just a page. You know, I don't know the difference between a website and having a page on a website. But I know I can go to the town advocate, and there's a whole litany of things that she's either working on or has been posting. And I tried to say this from the beginning, there should be one source in the town, and I think Brianna is working on this, where all housing questions filter into.
right. And we need to.
They don't come under the highway department, they don't come under the select board, they don't come under whatever.
Yeah.
So you go to the town advocate, the town housing advocate, and I think it should be on that portion which she controls.
Right.
All things housing. End of conversation. So you go one-stop shopping, so to speak.
I had thought someone was setting up that website.
That's,
Like, I don't have the capability of.
right, no.
So
Were you in the initial talks though,
Yeah, I
just
had
about how it
thought,
was
I had
supposed
thought
to
it
work?
was,
Right, and then
and,
so what happened was, I think,
you're right, like, that
During-
should be on,
and
Right.
I would go through her,
yeah.
because it's her website, and ask
That
her,
stuff does
you know, in
need
a
to
very
go
nice
on,
way.
right.
You know, first of all, establish the rapport that we're gonna be posting through the advocate.
Mhm.
We're gonna be posting things periodically. And is the advocate in favor of it or not? And she's in favor of it, okay, the door's open, that's where we'll dump all our stuff.
right, and
And that'll put us on record. But it should be stuff that we voted on, not something, you know, that I just said off the top of my head or anybody else said. That if it comes from the housing trust, it has to be basically voted on.
no, if it comes from the housing committee, it has to.
Housing committee, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Use the word trust.
And I
Oh.
agree with that. My only worry is you said, like, do we support something or do we not? And I think right now, we shouldn't support or not support anything. We should just be presenting the facts. And then we're just, let's get the website up the way you said, where everything housing related is gonna be on this website. where people can go to ask questions instead of calling you or me. And then, you know, and we vote every week. So what should we send to Brianna? Let's send this, let's send that, let's send this. And do that for now and stay away from opinions for a while. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Just for now, we've got.
I thought it was supposed to be a resource center,
Exactly.
not an opinion piece.
Exactly.
I'll still just keep my advocate hat on.
Keep your opinions going.
Hmm?
Keep your opinions going. We just won't put them on the website.
Right. And, you know, everybody's free to voice opinions in here.
Yeah.
And they'll go
Okay,
in the
one of
minutes,
those
so-
items I think I brought up with you, Elizabeth, the North Harwich traffic safety study. Now, I know we have a traffic safety committee in town, and I can assume that they're doing something. And I'd also assume that the town is doing something. But I know what the town is doing. And it's doing nothing. And the Donnybrook that's going on right now with Pine Oaks 4 is all coming down to traffic safety. It's in that neighborhood, basically it's unsafe at any speed. Basically, any neighborhood in Cape, not only in Harwich, all of Cape Cod, really can't support the houses that's there. I live on Route 39. And you ought to see the gyrations I gotta go through to get my mail every day. I'm the old guy standing at the end of the driveway waiting for the traffic to clear. Not because I wanna run across the street, but I wanna get my mail.
I know. I'm on 124. It's hard to get out of the driveway.
So-
The infrastructure not only does not support Pine Oaks, it doesn't support any, you know, really. I mean, you read now about the traffic, you know, because we've had the summer traffic.
But the line I'm
There's so
drawing,
many
but the line I'm drawing here is that if our roads became more safe, it would also make it easier for housing to be developed. Because infrastructure is like housing.
So what are we supposed to do with the roads to make them more safe?
Well, it depends on what road it is. There's a whole litany of things. Some places, it's just a simple thing of cutting the hedges down so you don't have to go get your car in the travel lane before you can make a right or left-hand turn to pull out of where you're pulling out of,
Well,
you know?
I don't know if that's a housing issue, but
yeah, I mean, the thing, and I said this to you, that yes, traffic is very important when discussing housing, but the zoning board of appeals is not allowed to consider it when they're going through the 40Bs.
That's
Traffic
correct.
is not something they can look at.
That's right.
And B, there is a traffic safety committee, and this is their bailiwick. But I do think it would be helpful to know what they're working on. So if you wanted to go to their meetings and report to us on
I can go to the next
what
meeting.
their ideas are, so that we know. You know, but in terms of, you know, I mean, it's like 124 Queen Anne Road, it's all gonna be a nightmare, because you've got Pine Oaks, you've got Marceline, and they're selling the other empty property at the Route 6 interchange. Town doesn't have enough money to buy that. That could be a Walmart. Or it could be a private developer putting in condos. That whole intersection is gonna become a nightmare, even if nothing gets built. Queen Anne already has problems that need to be fixed. So I don't think, you know, I think finding out what public safety is doing might help us in terms of figuring out things to recommend to the select board, because one of the things we discussed about at the very beginning was helping figure out, it's in our charge of where, you know, where we could recommend a space for housing. So you knowing what the traffic safety committee is working on would certainly help us say, yeah,
Okay.
we'd love to recommend, there's a 10-acre parcel there, but it couldn't work. You know,
Let me finish boiling my list down here. Now, this one was directly at the last trust meeting. The town planner, Christine Flynn, got up and gave a little talk about zoning. And she's in the throes of coming up with a list of zoning changes that will write in multiple family in certain zoning areas. Apparently, we don't have multiple family in Harwich. As a zoning,
as a, right, yeah.
As a
No,
right.
Davenport, when they did the duplex, had to go get a waiver.
yeah, so the thing was, and she was actually looking for volunteers to help her. So there you go.
You wanna do that?
I can give her a
And then-
call and see
I
what
mean,
she wants.
And see what she wants, you
Yeah.
know, it's probably something we should all be looking at, but, you know, if you find out what she's looking at and let us know,
Yeah,
you know,
Okay.
then we can discuss whether we think, oh, that's a good idea, we should put that in a recommendation, or, yeah, that'll never fly, you know, whatever.
well, I think she did, I don't know, I don't know if maybe she just needs some help looking over maps to see where would be, you know, a suitable place to say, well, in this area, we're gonna change the zoning. I mean, no sense of changing the zoning, and
Right.
it's already filled with something.
Right. Okay, so you talk to her and see what she needs, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, is we're
Yeah.
supposed to be helping,
And,
you know, and
and
advising
the
the
last one,
select board,
the
the
last
town.
one, not the last trust meeting, but the one before that, the subject came up about, the trust was talking about property that they're advocating to put up, that they control. And they're gonna put it up for sale to sell it, because they don't see any value for what they're looking at going forward. And one of which is a small tract of land over on Oak Street. About, all told, it's about 2 acres of land, but buildable, it's about something less than less. I guess you could probably put a house on it, but your septic system might be across the street or something like that. I don't know. You know, it's one of those because there's 2 vernal pools, and you're kind of in between them, and then the buffer and everything.
We're
else
on
like
Oak
that.
Street.
Basically up there where the golf course is, and I think it's
Oh, yeah.
across the street.
Yeah.
On the other side. And so I got up and thinking out of the box. I get accused of this all the time, but what the hell? I'm out of the box. I'm out of my mind anyway. So easy when you talk out of think they're out of the box. So I said, I said, my little spiel was, I think that property has value, and the value could be as like an experiment in tiny houses. And, see if there's a developer out there that wants to build one or two, not a whole gaggle of them, one, no more than two, tiny houses. And make some deal, you know, maybe the trust would, I don't know, what all the ins and outs, would they retain ownership of the property through a lease back or whatever, or sell it outright, but the, you know, the developer would use it for a couple tiny houses. One, basically up front would be like a marketing thing, to kind of say, I'm in the business of building tiny houses, and I want a place to build one in a neighborhood, and just see what they look like, and give the town the opportunity to evaluate a tiny house. You know, you talk about them, you see pictures of them and stuff like this, but, you know, it's like buying a new car. You know, you want to kick the tires and you want to get in and try the steering wheel and play the radio and stuff like that. And it would be something like that. And I said, you'd be the, you know, that land could be used something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Because dollar
Falmouth is
is
doing.
very low.
Yeah, Falmouth is really good about like doing pilot programs, so they're
Yeah.
testing out alternative,
Oh, pilot program.
you know, wastewater
So anyways,
systems and all that. We combine like prefab tiny homes,
Yeah.
like Art saying, with alternative
Yeah.
systems. It might not cost us a dime, and you know, might get us good publicity for the town. So you know, I'll come up with some of the specifics, but I also, just so you know, what I'm really gonna work on is finding out the difference between Seasonal Communities Act and the Regular Homes Act, because, you know, that Homes Act, you know, 4 billion, although it's not giving us $4 billion. But there were some, you know, zoning changes and different things that were allowed under that, like ADUs by right now, you know, things like that. But then there are a lot of tools that I think would be even more useful for Harwich, like, you know, municipal overlay districts and starter home districts and things like that. And I myself am not sure whether those are under homes or under seasonal communities, so that's what I'm gonna figure out right now. Because I do think that, you know, we need good people in Harwich. We want good people in Harwich. We want families. We want, you know, and the way to get it is, if we want good workers, we have to give them a place to live. So, you know.
But and I think the last one was, we talked about, just passing, take another shot at the affordable, Affordable Housing Act that the town turned down.
Yeah, that's what the Seasonal Communities
Right.
Act is. That's what I'm
So
gonna
the town,
work on.
you have to get on board on the bus before you can go anywhere. So they just decided not to get on the bus.
Yeah, you have to vote for it at town hall, but,
Yeah.
you know,
We don't
it
want,
wasn't even put.
how much money do they have? What was it, 5 trillion, or billion, no, not trillion, billion? Is it $5 billion?
Oh, well, the Homes Act has 4-something billion,
400
but then, the seasonal communities comes with more, you
Yeah, well, then,
money
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
there's a whole
tools.
pot of money.
So I'm
for
gonna, that's what I'm gonna
For one of them.
work on.
But where's
so
the
we can
money?
present this.
It's
Where's
state
money supposed
money.
to go? Yeah, I agree. It's free money. But how are we supposed to use it?
Well, that's
Well, that's
what
it.
we're investigating.
Yeah.
you
Well, the
know.
whole, it's,
I thought you were just saying seasonal housing, or
It's called the Seasonal Communities Act.
I know the act, but
Oh.
you said something about a separate act and finding the definition, I thought, between the two.
No, there's the Homes Act, that was the
Homes Act,
original.
I'm sorry.
That's original.
That was the original 4.5.
Yep.
We were at the meeting where Augustus came down, Secretary Augustus came and told us, what was gonna be in it and all that stuff. And then they introduced like a subset of that called the Seasonal Communities Act,
Yep.
which gives more flexibility to towns for such things as municipal housing and starter
I
homes
get that.
and things like that.
And then they say all this money,
So-
but how's the money supposed to be used?
Well, that's part of investigating.
Because I emailed Julian Sear and asked him, but I got no response.
No, that's what, that's the investigating that I'm gonna do on our own. The way I'm finding the best way that we could all help is to do that sort of research ourselves, so that when we go to the select board with recommendations, or we want to go to Senator Sear to ask for his help on A, B, C, or D, we'll be able to present the facts to them. I'm learning this because at the county, I was given chairmanship of the Assembly of Delegates Economic Affairs Subcommittee, and right now we're doing a big push on how the county can help with housing. If the county can help with housing, I mean, it may not be able to, but I think there are some regional things the county can help with, but we're exploring that. And what I've learned from that is the more, if we want something, the best way to do it is present it to the legislators or, government, and then discuss with them how this could work together rather than asking them for things because,
God forbid you ask a representative for help.
Yeah, but see, here's where we're caught in this rock and a hard place, whatever you wanna call it. The town hasn't bought into this. So we're out here in Never Land.
right,
So what we wanna do, I believe, and then we gotta put it on the agenda, and we gotta hash it out again and vote on it, up or down, or whatever way, and see if it's gonna go. That we take another run at the town and say, we're missing an opportunity here. And for some reason.
I don't know that we are. I don't know where's the money. I
That's-
don't know how we're supposed
right.
to get it yet.
right,
Well-
that's what I'm gonna
Maybe
find
that's why
out.
they opted to not get into it.
No, well.
No, I know why they opted not to, but
know
not
why.
every town opted in. You're right, because other towns wanted to see, well, how is this gonna work? Well, what is it gonna do? But some towns did. And so what I'm gonna do is go to the towns that did opt in and say, what do you think? Has it helped? Are you glad you did it? Are you not glad you did it? Has
How are you
anything
getting the-
happened yet?
how are you getting the money?
What does the money, are you getting
How are
money?
you using the money?
Exactly. So that's what I'm gonna be working on, okay?
It was,
And then-
it was the fear of the government.
When we come back.
Until we
I haven't
have,
seen anything from it yet.
until we have.
I see a
emergen-
lot of vague print. I
Yeah.
see nothing
until we have a-
helpful to us.
Until we have
Right.
emergency, and that's who we go to, is the government.
No, you're right, and that's
Yeah.
your frustration with lots of talk, no action. Do we have anything to see here?
They pass a
Is
big bill
exactly
with fancy
why-
numbers.
Is, I think, exactly why we're here right now.
Yeah.
Is to help collate the information, gather the information, collate it, and distribute it so that instead of people sitting around talking about what if, how about, we have concrete numbers, suggestions, examples of how this has worked, examples of why this won't work, that sort of thing, so that we can present things to people and they will have the option. It will make it much easier for them to say, okay, we can move on this then. We can get something done and we can stop just having endless meetings. We're the ones that should be having the endless meetings about things so that we can present it to the people who can actually do things, and they'll do it instead of, just not accomplishing anything. I believe it's our job to come up with the facts and present it. That's what you said you wanted to do, right? Is get the facts, how we can help, what can we do to help Harwich get attainable workforce housing?
Art, you had called when we had chatted on the phone one day regarding the ADU.
Right.
Just because I think that's a huge possibility knowing kids around here. A lot of people, families, people just sit in their Cape Cod homes, but zoning hasn't allowed, and it's been tough until this recent bill to.
Well,
What about, could you use money from the town or housing
yeah.
for like a
well,
down payment
but
assistance?
that's one of the items that the trust
That's what
is looking at.
as in like a down payment assistance for an ADU.
Yeah, and the sticking point that they can't quite get past is deed restrictions. Because anything that the trust supports based on a charter, it's got to have a deed.
So it'll have to be deed restricted.
And the other reason why that it's not for the trust to do, and another reason why I'm leaning towards figuring out a municipal
Right.
fund is if the trust pays towards the ADU, that means it's capital A affordable and it has to go to lottery. Nobody's
not
gonna
paying?
build an ADU if they don't know who's gonna be living in it.
What about not paying for it, but having a way through the town to get assistance? Like, I know some banks do that, down payment, or Massachusetts had a down payment assistance program recently.
Right.
I don't know, I just don't know if it's a possibility, not saying the town pays for it so that it's not classified under affordable, but
Right.
hey, we have a fund where if you qualify based on X,
Well,
you
that's,
get 10,000, does that still count
Right.
as them paying for it?
that's why if we set up the municipal trust, then
Then they can
the
do
town can get money. That's what the town would use the municipal trust.
Because you're not, the deed restrictions and then the income levels they just don't work, so it's like, you need to go around that hoop to be able to have, something where the town can give money.
But, right, so we have to, figure out whether, and maybe there are other ways of the town being able to spend money without it being capital A
Yeah.
affordable besides having a municipal trust. That's certainly something, if anybody has any ideas about how that would work. But, there's other ways Harwich can help with an ADU because there are
Can they,
pre-built ADUs that cost a lot less, and they're fabulous. I went to see one in Truro. I wanted to move in immediately.
what about like
it's
a
really
credit
good.
for sewer or something? The town can, I'm sure they can, because if you're putting an ADU, chances are you're gonna have to upgrade the house's septic system. So
Right.
what if you get a credit or something from the town to do that? Because in theory, then the town's getting an upgraded septic system. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just thinking.
Or the other thing is
Some incentive.
one of the tours. Do you remember when we first started? I brought in Talitha Abramson from
Yeah.
CDP, who talked about ADUs. She's the ADU director at CDP, and she also talked about combining those with alternative systems, because then you don't need to do a huge expensive, you know, septic system overhaul, or, you know, there's a lot of areas that aren't gonna be hooked up to sewer. You know?
Yeah, it was gonna, that's what I mean, yeah.
And so, you know, maybe we could, you know, there's grant money for that, that if people would, I'll build, you know, yes, I'll put up a prefab ADU on my house with, you know, an alternative system, which you can get most paid for by a grant, probably. It wouldn't cost people more than like $100,000 to $150,000, which makes it much more
Yeah,
affordable.
because once you get above figures like that,
And
the
then-
return disappears.
And then, you know, you've got the banks willing to do good loans for ADUs, and it makes it much more feasible for
Exactly.
people, you know, to make it, to build it on their property, because they can keep it and do with it what they will. Whether, you know, they make it the mother-in-law house, or they make it the house that they move into and they rent out their house. You know, whatever reason people would want an ADU, you know, on their property. So there are a lot of ADU things to look into, and I have so much material on ADUs that I will send to you, send to you all. So I've got ADU info I can send you. I sent you this article. Is there anything else that you wanna think about, have me see if I can get information? I've got one Cape is coming up, which usually has some housing. That's in September. Oh, not till mid-September. So how do people feel about this? I mean, you're gonna look at P-Town and buy down things, and Anthony, you're gonna look at the Harwich money and things like that. Art, you're gonna look at what the traffic committee's doing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a hold of
website stuff.
Tiny house villages.
I get,
Oh yeah, the information on tiny houses. You know where tiny houses started? Jason Kander was a veteran who was going to run for representative or senate, I think, from Missouri. And then he realized he had major PTSD and had no business running for office at that point. And through that, got involved with, you know, veterans organizations, and realized, you know, as it is all across the country, that so many of the homeless people are veterans with PTSD or other problems. And they came up with this tiny homes village idea, where they have this little home, it's all they need, you know, it's not like they're having dinner parties when you're just trying to get on your feet, but it gives them shelter, it gives them a home, and it gives them the privacy that you want as you heal. And it's been a smashing success. And now they're finding it works just as well for, you know, single people who are just want to get out of their parents' basement while they figure out what they're gonna do. So I can, there's lots of information on tiny houses. Do you have it, or do you want to get it, or do you want me to?
oh, I get emails from this one company every now and then,
Yeah,
they run seminars on them,
yeah, and bunkies.
yeah.
All right, so we have our action items. Anything else from any of you?
We should, pick a date for our next meeting.
That's what I would like to do that.
So
We can. Um, let me do this the other way. How do I make this? What are people's thoughts? I realize with, you guys work, and, do multiple things, so it's really up to you guys, and I am not at all wedded to, having to make it every Tuesday, every second Tuesday or whatever, because, you guys have busy lives. Art and I can pretty much, and we'll see if we get a new member, they might have some thoughts about preferring but hopefully, we get a new member. If we get a new member that that is thinking about joining, other people. I've asked a lot of people and nobody's applied, but
30th maybe, September? I really don't know, I mean, it's so far out. I don't know if it's better if we try to connect like a week or two out, or...
the problem is
September's
that,
pretty busy for me.
like you saw that the revised agenda didn't get put on the town website because Harwich needs meeting information far in advance,
How far in advance?
farther than the county does.
So long as we have the agenda made, we can send it in the same time as we agree on our meeting, right?
Yeah, but like, let's say,
2 weeks.
yeah, we have to know 2 weeks in advance. So, I mean, I think maybe the best, if, like you said, maybe the 30th? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Because it can be any day of the week, too. If
The 30th?
another day is better. But if Tuesday the 30th,
September 30th is a Tuesday.
yeah.
Unlike you, I have an anniversary.
Oh, is that,
Oh, yeah.
is the 30th your
See?
anniversary?
You got, there's a date you don't wanna forget. Not my
So
anniversary.
you can't
yours.
make it? All right.
I can't make yours, but I gotta make mine.
Wait, so
30th, can you come?
No, it's already been bought and paid for.
Tuesday the 30th of
Yeah.
September.
It's on my credit
Okay.
card already.
How about Thursday the 25th? Can we put that tentatively?
Tentatively.
The 25th?
Thursday the 25th.
9/25/25, wow.
So we'll keep that tentative. We'll keep checking in a minute. That doesn't work. If something comes up, let me know.
Yeah,
So we can figure
yeah.
figure something out.
Good.
Feel free to
And it comes up
call,
quick.
text, email, anything,
2 months.
Oh, I got plenty of time to worry about a gift. No.
Yeah, what's 2-month anniversary? Lollipop.
Or a wave.
A margarita.
Yeah.
But seriously, anything, questions, concerns, you want to yell at me for something?
Okay, well,
Always email, text, call.
Sounds good?
I think we ought to give a nice thank you for Mr.
Oh, yes, that's right,
Dominic,
before we adjourn,
returning our
talking about,
return to
voting
full. Thank you.
on something. Do I have the board's permission to send a letter to Lou thanking him for his presentation?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I will do that.
Motion, seconded.
And
Okay.
so do I have a
Motion to
And
adjourn.
motion to adjourn, I'll
Second.
make that.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
And there goes the camera.